Hello, gorgeous NFA Money Mamas. It's time for another episode of the Woman Entrepreneur Podcast. And I absolutely love doing biz breakdown sessions. And we're going to have a really fun one today because Monica and I are super aligned. Just checking out her website, the name of her company, I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to have a great conversation. And she's going to share her journey. As you know, how these biz breakdown sessions go, share journey, give tips to you. She's going to share some spots where she's feeling maybe stuck and I can help her out. And then you can all listen and learn at the same time. That's how these go. And if you want to come on for a biz breakdown session, just go to thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com. and you'll find a spot to do either a biz breakdown session, and I've added a new one, which I'm so excited about. We're going to do Women Entrepreneur podcast parties. So this is where 10 women are going to get together and we're going to hang out and talk, promote your business, and have some sort of panel discussion about a business topic that we just throw out there and all have a good conversation around. So make sure that if you have already been on a biz breakdown session, come on for the Women Entrepreneur podcast party. And if you're like, hey, I don't really need a biz breakdown session or want a one-on-one, then just come on for the party. So that's there for you. We're going to rock out today. I'm so excited to have Monica de Vitry on. She's the founder of F.L.O.W Mamas. What a cool name for a business. Welcome to the show today, Monica.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here.
Yay. This is so fun. Welcome, everyone, all the listeners. You all know that I like to start with this question. So, Monica, if I could give you a magic wand and say, hey, you get to create anything you want in your business in 2023, what would that be?
Okay. So I would create a month-and-a-half trip that includes maybe a 1-week retreat in there, like a luxury retreat with art and yoga and surfing. And then around that, travel with my family for a 6-week chunk.
Okay.
Wave the wand. That's what
awesome. I love it. Okay. And with this luxury retreat would pay for the whole trip is what I'm assuming.
It would pay for the whole trip and then some. So it would be totally worth it. And
okay.
Yeah. And then maybe we would do it again a few months later.
I love it. That's great. Okay. And when you say your family, is it your extended family or your own family or both?
So my partner and my 2-year-old.
Partner and 2-year-old. Okay. Oh, girl or boy?
Boy.
Oh, yeah. That's such a fun age. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Fun
he's
age.
A good traveler too.
Tons of energy.
So much energy.
Yeah. Oh, and that's good. He travels well, you said?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did his first plane flight for Thanksgiving. We went to Nashville to see my family there.
Nice.
Both my sisters live there, and he did an amazing job. So.
Oh, that's so cute. What's his name?
Luca.
Oh, I have 4 babies, except for they're not really babies anymore. But I'm always like, oh, I just had a dream the other night of one of my daughters being 2, and I swaddled her up and held her, and I was like, oh, I miss that age.
The snuggles, I know. I'm I don't care how long that time takes. You're so cute.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it is amazing. I think about this a lot too, as being an entrepreneur, how much time you get to create, to spend, and how lovely that is because time is our most precious commodity. You can't go back. And so enjoy every moment. And, I think a lot of times also as entrepreneurs, we tend to want to rush to the next thing. And so, reminding yourself that it's really important to always just enjoy every single moment and that the whole entire journey can be pleasant and playful and fun if you let it be, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. This is such a great fun one. So a luxury retreat, and this would be for who would you be creating this luxury retreat for?
So I'm focusing on moms in my business. At first I was, and then I wasn't. My business has been all over the place. It's back to moms. So moms who want to learn more about flow states and experience periods of flow states while they're there, but also gain a lot of tools to bring home.
Okay. Wonderful. And I know several questions. Let's start with this. How long have you been in business?
So technically since I guess April of 2022. So pretty new.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you say it's been all over the place, it's been since April of 2022 that it sounds like are in discovery mode.
Yeah, big discovery mode, just like continue to try different things. I mean, I started working behind the scenes before that. That was when I like launched my first offer in my business.
Okay.
But yeah, I've tried a lot of different things. I'm glad that I have. I've learned a lot through trying a lot.
Yeah.
I just kind of like hit a stride last year where I was like, I'm just going to keep trying stuff. Like, try it. And then I was like, all right, I'm maxed out. I have so many tabs open in my mind. And then I was like, all right, pause for the holidays. And now I'm just in like winter rest, I would say. But I'm so excited. I love this space because now I'm like, okay, like what intentional moves am I going to make from here?
Yeah. So. That's a great place to be. I mean, to me, it sounds like your attitude is really solid about it. Like your mindset isn't freaking out about it. And even, the nuance in using the word try, because some people, when they use the word try, you can tell it feels like a struggle. It's like, I'm trying to do this versus like, try it, which is actually more of a discovery intention and playful. It sounds like very playful for you. The process has been, is that true?
That's very accurate. Yeah. Like I just kind of was following the breadcrumbs and it was really cool. Like I had put a lot of things out to the universe that I wanted to happen and they really did come out in different ways that I couldn't have expected because I was just like in that space of like, I'm available. Which was really cool. So
that is such a powerful place to be because, manifestation, the number one killer of manifestation is resistance. And so when you're open and you trust, hey, I've set this manifestation to create my own business. And in the beginning, I like to remind everyone that's exactly what happens. You are going to be in a discovery process. I call it zone 1, which is the manic imposter zone, where you're like, that manic, like, I'm going to try this and I'm going to do this. And I'm so
that's
excited.
Definitely.
Right?
I love the name.
Right. And then you're also like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing at all. and then exactly like you're saying, I love that you said, so many tabs open in my mind because it's exactly how it feels. You're like, I've got 8,000 things in my brain. A lot of it's exciting. Some of it's scary. I'm not quite sure what next steps to take. And that moment can be for people a freak out where they're like, oh my God, I'm a failure. Imposter syndrome. I don't know what to do. And then that can keep them really stuck. Or you move through to zone 2, which is starting to over deliver and undercharge, which is typically what I see people get stuck in because they have, for those of you listening, she raised her hand. Yeah, it's really, and I mean, I've mapped this process for myself and all the people I've worked with, like it's the same every time. And we've got to go through all the zones, And so I like your attitude about it. Seems very playful. Some people get real stuck and frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always just been like an eternal optimist in life. So when I came into business, I was like, I'm going to make $250,000 in my first year. And then I'm like, oh, how? Immediately was like, oh shit. Like, I don't think I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But I made $2,500. So
that's awesome.
A fraction of it.
You got to start somewhere, right? You just need 100 exit and you're good.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that's beautiful because that is the start. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who are like, my first year business, I was in the negative, or I only made like 10K or whatever amount, like a smaller amount than they thought. And then it accelerates and builds momentum. And I see so clearly a lot of that has to do with exactly what we're talking about. It's like, you've got to discover and explore and figure out who you are as a brand. So establish that brand identity. I call it in the beginning, you have scattered brand identity where it's like, today I'm this and next week I'm this. And then maybe
I love all your names. But yeah, this totally resonates. Yeah.
It makes sense, and same thing for me. Over the years, I've evolved quite a bit and I get clearer and clearer, and I can see the clearer I get and the more narrow my focus, the faster now I can build momentum in a bigger direction. But I couldn't have gotten to this place without all those stages that you're talking about. And no one who's listening can either, unless the only way you move through the stages faster is if you've built multiple businesses. So you already know the process. And so you're still going to go through it. It just might go faster through the phases. Okay. So to share, in that state, actually I want to go back because you said something that I want everyone to know what it means from your perspective. You said you want to work with women, with mamas who want to learn about flow states. So tell us about flow states so everyone knows what your perception of that is and your methods.
So this is actually, I finally recently pivoted to focusing on flow in my business. Before it was like the moon and all these other things. And then finally I was like, wait, the name is Flow Mamas. Cause I was like all over the place too. Is it for moms? Is it not for moms? Is it for women? Like, who's this for? Is it for everyone? Is everyone a mama? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was like, no, it's for moms and it's about flow. So then I started researching actual flow. So there's this like really classic psychology book called F.L.O.W. by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. It was published in the 90s, and it's like all this research compiled from all around the world, studying like people in their optimal state and just looking at the psychology of that. And now there's all this current research being done. I've been reading this book by Stephen Kotler. He has the Flow Research Collective and like amazing current neuroscience research on flow states. So basically, like the flow state is a state that everyone experiences sometimes. It's a universal thing. And it's that place where it's like you kind of lose track of time and you're just feeling like you're like, I got this. I'm in the zone. Like it's when the challenge is a little bit greater than the skill. So there's like these little hacks. There's all these things that we can do to help ourselves actually spend more time in that place, because it's not a place you can live in. You can't be there all the time because it actually is part of a cycle. And the struggle is actually part of the flow cycle. This blew my mind when I learned this. I was like, what? Like, because I had been like struggling a lot in that first year of my business, like, oh my gosh, like feeling like I'm doing something wrong. I should get through this faster. And then recognizing like, no, I just need to honor this and be with this and be like, ooh, like, what am I learning? Like, what's challenging me? Because after that, like, you kind of like take a break, grab a cup of tea, go for a walk or something like that. When you re-enter, that's when you can get into that flow state. So it's all about like creating the conditions in your life and in your business and everything so that you can spend the most time in that flow, because it's a great place to be. And it's like, when we're in that place, that's when we're really going to like keep challenging ourselves to that next level of like who we want to be like as our best selves.
I love that. That's so awesome. I hadn't heard it from that perspective, and it's so resonant. I always tell people you're either in fear or flow, and I always do acronyms for things because I think it's easier to remember and it conceptualize it. So fear is the future expectation of awful results. So you're just projecting something awful into the future. Flow, my acronym is faithfully looking for opportunities to win. And so, you know, when you said it, it really reminds me of like when you're faithfully looking for opportunities to win, it means that there's a challenge in there. Because you wouldn't win if there was no struggle or battle or challenge, right?
Exactly.
And so it's, you know, that optimal growth edge requires some struggle. And I think people resist struggle and they think it's a bad thing. And instead you get to go like, hey, I optimally grow and I'm in flow when I'm winning the battle.
Yes, like freaking own the struggle. Like it's part of your process. It's part of your growth. Like that's where we're like, you know, doing all the reps and like trying all the things and like learning all the, you know, fundamentals of whatever it is. And then it's like, oh, that's like where that flow space comes in.
Yeah, so. I love that. Will you share a strategy you use to teach people how to get into a flow state?
So I can't yet because this is all very new. Like this is the newest pivot. I haven't even been like teaching it yet. Okay.
So you're just playing with it. How are you playing with it with yourself right now?
So I have been a yoga teacher since 2014 and an art teacher since 2017. And those are big flow state things. Like those are actually things that can help to trigger the flow state because it's things that are like getting you into your body, getting you into the present moment. Mindfulness is a big piece. Eliminating distractions is a big piece. Creating containers for yourself where you're like, I'm going to be in this space, you know, for this experience. So that's a huge thing. Well, Siri just picked up experience. She wants to know what's going on.
I love it when that happens.
I'm like, all right. So like what I've been realizing though is like, even though I haven't been teaching it quite yet from this perspective, like I've actually been teaching people to get into the flow state for a long time.
Yeah, even before your yoga teaching, I would imagine.
Even before that, actually, because I've been teaching music since I was like 14 or 15 years old. old, like doing music lessons.
Yep.
So like half my life. And like, that's a huge flow experience. And I've been a musician for most of my life. And so I feel like I've personally spent so much time in these flow states of like playing the cello or painting or then like doing the yoga or all these different like creative endeavors. So now it's just like learning, because I'm like a big research person. Like if I'm going to apply something and teach it to people, like I want to do my research. I want to like, I want to know my stuff and then apply that and teach people from that place. So
very cool.
Yeah, from my pre-teaching zone, I can tell you that those are like a couple little things to keep in mind.
Yeah, well, and what I hear you saying that I think is important for everyone to pick out and understand is that in order to get into flow, it's an experience, right? Mm-hmm. You're learning about how to teach flow because that's kind of a meta, mental process. The integration of flow is an experience. And so, I love what you're saying, yoga, art, music. You talked about surfing, action, like getting our bodies in action and feeling something. And so I want to remind everyone here how important it is to know that manifestation, I call the end zone, when you go through the 4 business scaling, the end zone is the zone of manifestation. And I always say it's when you're in flow state, right? It's when leads are coming in and your brand identity and you're feeling good and you're like, oh my God, I'm delegating, I'm living in my zone of genius. And you get to experience, actually you get to manifest in material form all of the feelings you've had along the way of creating a journey of joy, right?
I love that.
And that's flow. And so it's an experience and a feeling. So manifestation always has to do with feeling high vibe. Well, actually, let me rephrase that because you always manifest what you're feeling. So if you want to have a deliberate, fun process, be high vibe. If you want to have a struggle, like a fighting feeling where you don't feel like you have power and control over your life, then stay in that resistance place and feel low vibe. And so, to me, it sounds like this luxury retreat that you're creating and manifesting right now as we speak is helping women experience flow state through practices that you'll do at the retreat.
Yes. Yeah.
Very cool.
And the cool thing about it too is like flow is universal. Like everyone's experienced and will experience this, but it's also going to be so personal. Like what gets one person into the flow might be different than what gets the next person into the flow.
Yeah.
So like creating containers for that, but then also giving them like, here are tools that you can use. And like, I love to create like journaling prompts and practices and just like different experiences that are like very like choose your own adventure type thing of like, we'll start here, but then like one person might end up dancing on the beach and the other person might be like sewing in the other room.
Yes.
Like, you don't know, but it's like just kind of like experiencing like, oh, like when I actually follow those urges of like, what challenges me, what excites me, what gets me into that place where I'm like, all those positive neurochemicals are firing. Because actually all 6 of the brain's major chemicals that are like pleasure chemicals fire when we're in the flow.
Yes.
I'm like, what?
Best drug ever.
Endorphins, serotonin, norepinephrine, all these different things. I'm like, oh my God. And I am no neuroscientist. Like I can't speak super intelligently about this. But when I read that, I was just like, what? Like no wonder it's like where we want to go, because it is that growth edge and it's like, it's a good place to be.
So good. I love this. Thank you for sharing your wisdom because to me, I mean, you're speaking my language. It's just like that resonant feeling of like, we could talk all day. I love these conversations. This is great. Okay. Share with us. Where do you feel any stuckness in your business right now? Any places, and it could, you might experience it as stuckness. It could also just be like, hey, I want to focus here and I would like some clarity in this spot or any money blocks you can identify that you'd like me to help you with.
Yeah, I would love to talk about the money blocks. So when I was trying a bunch of stuff last year, everything that I put out, I realized I was making sales. Like they weren't all big sales, but I was like making some kind of sales for all these different things. And then I just kind of stopped because I was like doing all these things where I was like over delivering and undercharging. And I was like, wait a second, like this isn't even matching up, and I realized that like I was holding back on promoting and selling my offers because I was like not fully behind it. I was like, I can't even deliver on this from a really integrated, aligned, energetic place. So I just stopped and I was like, I just need a break. But yeah, I would love to just kind of feel into like what would be a really aligned next offer that I could put out in my business. Cause I'm like, I have one program going right now. It's ending in about a month. And when that ends, I don't think I'm going to sell that one again because I'm just like, I don't know what the next thing is. And then I have my art business too that I'm kind of trying to like start weaving into that on the side. And I'm like, maybe I just paint and focus on the art. I don't know. There's like all these threads. And I'm just like, I would love to feel into like which thread to kind of pull on to just get something going. And because right now, like the last sale I made was in November. And then I just kind of stopped. Wasn't really putting anything out there. I have a few things on my website, but we all know like people aren't just like magically going to your website and buying your shit. Like that would be cool. I think in the beginning I thought it was gonna kind of be like that. I think
99% of people think that.
So funny.
Myself included when I started. Like, hey, I built this awesome thing. Shouldn't everyone be flooding here to buy it?
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
So like I have offers out there, but I'm not like actively making the offers.
Got it.
And I feel like that's because I'm like, I haven't fully felt into like, what am I really there for? You know? Yeah.
Let's say this, and I'm sure you've heard this before, like I like that philosophy, a confused mind doesn't buy. I often also think when we're in the position of promoting ourselves, a confused mind doesn't sell well. It doesn't promote well. And when I say confused, it could be uncertainty, right? So when we're uncertain about what we're offering, it's going to be really hard to sell it because what people are buying from you magnetically is your certainty and your confidence. So whenever we have a lack of confidence in what it is we're promoting and offering, we're going to have that mixed vibrational frequency that's like, I think I like it, but I'm not sure. So you feel kind of desperate and needy for people to validate you instead of you being like, here I am, boom, I'm a presence. I know what I'm doing. I am ready to help you in the way that you need. And then people just attract to you because you know exactly what you want. So these are great questions that I think a lot of people feel in these stages of business. So thank you for bringing it up because I know that listeners are going to get a lot out of it. When you say feel into the next aligned offer, and then you said, so the one program you have now, you're not going to sell it anymore. So you're kind of in a revamp mode of like, what's next? What is the next thing for me? Okay. And then you said also the art business, and there's a lot of threads and you want to know which one to pull on. In my mind, I think about always, anytime you can create a program, product, or service, or let's say business, or even company, if we want to think even bigger, that's going to fulfill the highest number of values for you, that's when you're going to be the most successful in that flow state because you're going to be fulfilling so many of the things that you love to do that it becomes just a really powerful force of magnetism. And so in this program, I want you to think big, like what's the type of program that I could create that I get to have the most joy, the most fun, the most flow, because that's going to be your highest potential for living in your zone of manifestation. So what would that look like?
Yeah. So immediately I think of like actually doing art. Like that's something that's so fundamental for me. But it's interesting. This is such a great question that you're asking because like I'm thinking about it and like I've barely brought that into my business so far.
Interesting. Okay.
Like I have kept it really separate of like, I did an art show last year. It was like my first art show. That was like one of the things that was just like, I had kind of put it out there and then someone reached out to me. So there was that. But yeah, so
before you go anywhere else, will you tell me why you haven't incorporated it? Why do you think you haven't incorporated it yet?
I don't know. These are great questions. Oh my gosh. I think there's a part of me that has kept it separate for maybe partly because it has been my main job, like as an art teacher. I'm still an art teacher part-time.
Okay.
And also I think it's definitely like the imposter syndrome, which is crazy. I'm like, I am a teacher. I've been a teacher. Like, I can teach these things. But then for some reason, like showing up online and doing this stuff has felt different to me.
Yeah. I'm getting like it's really interesting. Sometimes when I'm talking to people, I'll get like a body experience of like like my heart starts racing and I just get this experience of like, I got to say this to you. So what I want to say to you is, I want you to say these words. I dissolve, delete, and destroy the thought that I can't make money as an artist.
Oh my God. I dissolve, delete, and destroy the thought that I can't make money as an artist.
Yeah.
That's really been the thing. I think that's like, you hit the nail, like you hit the root of it, because that's like all my life. I'm like, I'm an artist. And then I'm like, oh, I'm an art teacher. I teach cello lessons. I am a server. I blah, blah, blah. Like all these other things. I've never actually fully gone for it as an artist.
Yeah. So there's somewhere in you that the seed of thought got planted of like, it's not possible to make big money as an artist. Mm-hmm. Which is a societal belief. You know, we could go there. Kids get told that when they're young. I don't know if you did, but it's like, that's a very, especially if this is where I think it's interesting when people are intuitive and tapped into the universe. Like you're absorbing the beliefs of everyone around you, close and far. And so it's like whenever you have that experience of like daydreaming about your business from a place of being a powerhouse artist in the world, I want you to just repeat that. Like I dissolve, delete, and destroy the thought that I can't make money as an artist. Yeah. And then let's add a different. So first, that's the dissolving side. This popped into my mind one day. It's like when we're doing reframes on our mindset, we've got to first eliminate the old thoughts that are not serving us and then plant new thoughts. So that's a reframe process. So now what's an empowering statement you could say? It's like, and have you read my I Am a Money Magnet book yet? Mm-mm. Okay. So definitely get I Am a Money Magnet book. Anyone listening, go to IamAMoneyMagnetBook.com. There are 100 journaling questions in there to help you break through your money beliefs that are keeping you stuck, and then reframe and really get into a powerful money magnetism mode. And so in reframes, you use what I call AffirMantras. So I come up with statements that are 100% believable to you. So typically, let's say you just said, I am a $1 million artist, but your brain's like, bullshit. No, you're not. And so instead, you've got to say something that's on the way to that. And so you would say something like, I enjoy making money with my art. I enjoy making big money with my art. I enjoy transforming the world through my art. I enjoy making impact and income through my art. Something that resonates for you, but you want to come up with a statement that's fully believable. Like, I love it when I get to make money with my art. I prefer to make money in my business through creating art. I prefer to teach women how to be in flow through making art, something along those lines, and just keep playing until you hit on one. So let's come up with one for you.
Yeah. I wrote down, I love it when I get to make money with my art, because I think that is so simple and just so empowering. And that's something that I've only made throughout my entire life, maybe like $3,000 on my art, on like commissions and different things. And I'm like, why is that?
Yeah. So it's some unconscious stuckness in there, right? Because we buy limiting beliefs that it's not possible. And it absolutely is, right? So so that we'll start there. Now let's reverse to what kind of program could you create? And I had asked you that question, what would it look like? And first you said art. So like, what else would your program? Your most, because you have a magic wand to create your life and your business however you want. And so let's create it in your mind first, and then reverse engineer steps to get started. And then the universe will provide the ways. Yeah.
So it's interesting. Like when I started my business, I was like, this is about art, yoga, and astrology. And
love it.
Yeah. And I didn't really understand how they all fit together. But the yoga and the astrology pieces definitely are really important too. And last year I really leaned into working with the lunar cycles, and I had this whole thing created in my mind that I never actually fully brought to fruition of lunar inspired work, where it was art practices and yoga practices and all these things to find more flow within the container of the lunar cycle. And I still think that's so powerful. And I kind of paused on that and pulled away, and I'm like, No, I think that's really so powerful, and like that it all still comes back to flow. And it's so funny, like I've just stopped myself so many times being like, oh, but it doesn't really make sense. Like, I don't know. And it's like, it's gonna make sense on the way to doing it. Like, I just have to keep the threads.
Yeah. Well, and I'm curious, when you make up that story in your mind, what doesn't make sense? Say more there.
Yeah, I think what doesn't make sense is how I'm going to like, it's always the how. It's like, how am I going to like, make it all happen? And like, but how many videos should I be making? And like, how do I edit them? Like the dumb stuff that's like, come on, like just make the damn video.
Yeah. We all do it though. Yeah. Well, this is where we all get stuck. And I want everyone listening to ask yourself, how many times have you thought, but it doesn't make sense. I don't know how to do it. Like that thought comes up all the time. And the reason is because we don't either trust in universal laws or we don't know them. And so I want everyone to know the universal laws that manifestation. So my 3-step manifestation formula, the simplest, clearest I could create it, that where I can still teach days on how we get stuck and how to overcome. But the simple 3 steps. 1, you got to know with certainty and clarity what you want, right? Decide what you want very clearly. 2, take steps in the direction. And 3, let the universe take care of the ways. That's it. And so you just need to know what you want, take steps, and then trust the universe to show you the way. And exactly like you said something very powerful and important. You just take the next step. You don't need to know A to Z. You just need to know A to B. And then universe will show you C and D and E and F and keep showing you. Right? Yeah. How many times have you experienced that in your life where you didn't know and you just took the step and then the universe brought you the next step? You've experienced this, I'm sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so powerful. Yeah. It's somehow so easy to just fall off and be like, oh, but I don't know. Like,
So anytime you feel that way, just remember to go back to like, hey, wait, I just need to know the next step. And what's the one, and I always tell people, keep it simple, keep it small. What's the next first simplest step? And just do that and then see what's next. You don't need to know all the big picture yet. You won't know. And it is probably so much bigger than you think even, right?
It's so true. It's like when we think that we have to know exactly what it's going to turn out, like we're actually limiting ourselves so much. Because it's like, what? Like, how would I ever imagine? Like, for example, last year, I put it out there that I really wanted to become a published author. And I thought this would happen through me publishing like my own first solo book. And then someone reached out to me and asked if I wanted to be a part of this multi-author book of women who work with the moon. So I'm a published author now. I did it. I'm like, what happened? The paperback book's coming out soon. And never in a million years would I have been like, oh, that's what's going to happen.
Right.
But it's actually connected me to this like beautiful group of women who are also authors in this, and just this sense of community through it, and just this sense of purpose through being like, oh, this is important to me. So
yes, that is a perfect example of how you don't need to know the plan, and you just need to know the desire and take steps. And then the universe shows you the way, and it's almost always better and easier than you thought it would be. If you let go of the resistance.
Yes.
Right. And this is where, type A people will tend to over plan and want to hyper control things. And you're actually making it way harder on yourself.
I know, it's so hilarious. It's like I've had so many people be like, isn't your business about flow? Like, you don't seem like you're in the flow. I'm like, I want to be. I'm trying. But I think we're all trying, and it's like we're never going to be there all the time, and it's just like remembering to keep coming back, you know.
Well, and what it means is you have the desire to learn flow, and you're going to be teaching the people who are just a couple steps behind you how to get to where you are. And then the cool thing is, in the co-created experience, they get to teach you parts of flow that you didn't know yet just by being together, and then you're teaching them parts they don't know, and then it's that upward spiral growth trajectory where you just all get to keep expanding and expanding and expanding together. And it's a beautiful process when we let it be, Okay. So I want to make sure you have some really practical, I know. So playing with the dissolve, destroy, delete the thought, and then an AffirMantra in the other direction. So I love it when I get to make money with my art, and then designing a program. Okay. So you say art, yoga, and astrology. And what in terms of creating a business model that's easier to build, you want to think of something that's it sounds like retreats are powerful for you. Is that the direction you're thinking
Yeah,
about?
that's what I'm thinking. And like, so I actually brought these up to show you. These are my pillows that I'm working on making from
Beautiful.
my art show. So I'm making this like line of like luxe home decor. So I kind of visualize like the retreats. I'm like, maybe I don't want to teach online because I've been trying this, like running online programs and stuff. And I'm like, I just actually don't know if it's for me. So I think like working on my art business where I'm just like working on my painting and then like making prints of stuff online, like stuff with like, inspirational journals and affirmation cards and like beautiful clothing and like beautiful stuff for your home, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then teaching yoga, like in-person workshops and classes here, which I already do, but then bringing it all together a couple times a year in like in-person events for like, 4 days to a week at a time, maybe like 3 or 4 of those a year where it's just like, those are the big money makers in the business. And I get to travel with my family when I do it. And other than that, I just get to do my art.
Yeah. So this is something that's important for everyone to remember. Your business can fund your whole lifestyle of freedom and joy and flow. And then, I always love to help people create a business that's in their zone of genius. It's not like you're like, oh my God, I got to slave away at this business I hate to fund the rest of my life. That's going to cause a lot of friction. And so it's like, oh, that sounds amazing. Right. And so something to start playing. Yeah. And so you just get to go like, okay, what's a date far enough out that I can attract however, reverse engineer. So go like, what would the cost be? And how many people do I need to have there to have this be feeling really good to me? Create the outline of it and create a very simple offer to get people's deposits. Then you have proof of concept and you can start building some momentum and energy around it and then allow that to start to magnetize your way. Yeah. And so that's how I would start it. I don't like people to build out a whole bunch of stuff before they have some market validation. And so like, in your mind right now, and let's say I like when people are starting things, I like to say go simpler and then scale it up. So I'd say like start with a 4-day retreat instead of 7 days. That way, you can create, you'll learn a lot in the first retreat.
Yeah.
So
I love this.
So start with 4 days, come up with a date and just do a fun outline. Do you have in your mind how many women you'd like to have there for the first one?
I guess it depends on the location. But I think like something on the smaller side is
okay. And what does that mean to you? That means different things to different people.
yeah, maybe like 10
okay.
people. Yeah.
Perfect.
Something like that.
So let's say 10 women.
All be small. I don't know. I think the smaller groups, like I love that feeling of like a really intimate experience. So
yeah. Okay. So in your mind, can you think of at least 2 women right now who would be amazing people to be at that retreat and who you think would be like, yeah, I would love that?
Definitely.
Okay. So start there. Set a date and then let that date pull you into like, it's happening. Right.
Yeah.
And this works really powerfully. I've done it many times for things I've created where I'm like, I have a fun idea. And then I put it out to the universe. I'll ask a few people who I think first pop into my mind of like, I think they would like this. And then they say yes. I get their deposit. I set the date and it's go time. And then it all comes into place because what you're doing is deciding with clarity and certainty what you want, taking a step in the direction, and then the universe will take care of all the rest of the details as you just keep taking steps. It'll show you what to do next. Does that make sense?
It does. It absolutely does. And I love that we're talking about the retreat thing too, because this is like the retreat and the art. Like I've never fully given myself permission. And every time I've tried to think about this, I'm like, oh, but then I would have to like pause the online offerings and all this stuff. I'm like, whoa, I really don't want to do it. I don't want to teach any more online programs. Like, I don't think that's for me. And that's okay. Like,
totally. Yes.
It's so okay. I can just say, like, I can just do the retreat. And until then, I'm just working on my art business and like,
totally have fun.
Other stuff. Yeah.
And then what will happen? maybe someday you'll create an online program. Who knows? But if it's not inspiring you right now and it feels like a have to and a should because that's what someone told you that would, make money or help you grow or whatever that we have in our minds, like you actually get to give yourself permission to build the exact business you desire, right? Mm-hmm. Like everyone needs to hear that you have the permission to build the exact business you desire. And don't let yourself get stuck in creating a prison out of your limiting beliefs about what's been possible from the past or what other people tell you should be doing, because that's never a flow state feeling, right?
No, it is not.
Like living other people's lives feels crappy. We all know that. So like, let's get into that place of like, lead by inspiration. That's what creates flow state, right? And then those challenges become growth edges and opportunities to expand into your fullest potential. And it's fun. Like then business building is fun. And that's where we all want to be, So it's like, thank you for sharing. You shared so many gems of wisdom for everybody to get to learn from.
This is so helpful.
Yay. That's awesome. I love that. Will you share from your perspective, a couple action steps you're going to take between now and when I check on you?
Yeah, I am going to pick a date on the calendar for a retreat, and I'm going to keep it simple. There's like a family property where I could host up to maybe like 7 people. So I can do it like low key, like
that's great.
I don't have to charge a ton. I can just be like, this is the first one. Like,
let's
do it. And if I just feel like, okay, this is just an opportunity for me to just like plan something fun for my friends who I never see, who live all over, and just see it like that. Like that helps me feel like I can just like, okay, let's just make this happen. So I'm going to pick a date and I'm going to ask off from my job for those dates.
Perfect.
Block it out.
Yep.
And
perfect.
Yeah, that's the biggest one. Yeah. And then I guess aside from that, I'm also going to quit one of my jobs because I actually have 2 jobs right now. And the second one I got, and I'm going to keep the second one and drop the previous one because I was thinking like, oh, I'll just do this and then I'll do my business. And I'm like, no, like I really want to make my business a priority again. And like having this conversation is reminding me of that. So
good. And that's the process and practice of cutting off anything that's not aligned to open the door for what is. And it's scary sometimes and we hesitate to do it. But when you do it, the universe can move in so quickly and fulfill your deepest desires. Because what happens, and I wish everyone here, if you're watching on the podcast, Monica's like shaking her head like, yes. And right, because that's how that feels. When you cut off something that is misaligned to open the door for what is, this feeling of like the weight is lifted. Like you're like, oh my God, yes, I get to do what I choose to do. And the universe is just waiting for you to do that because then it's clear about what you want instead of going like, wait, I'm doing this, which sends a mixed message. And when we cut off those things, it's like, oh, you really do want this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so good.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Share with everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm most active on Instagram. So if you want to reach out to me there, that's a good spot to do it at F.L.O.W Mamas, or through my website. You can get on my email list and
perfect.
You'll probably
hear from me eventually.
I haven't been emailing my list or posting on Instagram. But by the time this airs, maybe I'll be back.
You will be. Yes. I love it. Yeah. And, you have amazing stuff. And so, play with it, have fun with it. The reason we stop posting and doing those things, and I already see you'll have a big shift in your energy. It'll change. So, I'll see it on Instagram, and I want to, for those of you who are listening, it's F.L.O.W Mamas, MAMAS. I spell that because I've had so many people, I have the NFA Money Mama Mastermind. And it's spelled MAMA. So you go to nfamoneymamas.com. And so I'm like, I got to make sure I spell that because not everybody knows, there's different ways to spell mama. So to connect with Monica, go to F.L.O.W Mamas and it's FLOWMAMAS.com, FLOWmamas.com. And same on Instagram, F.L.O.W Mamas. And she's got lots of great stuff she'll be plugging back in. And I mean, really, Monica, I want you to know, like that retreat sounds awesome. Like art, yoga, astrology, like there are limitless women that would enjoy coming to a retreat like that. So keep that in mind. Like what you have matters. It's a really huge gift to the world. like, stay on track to be in your zone of manifestation, because you have such a bright, shining light and people need to experience that.
Thank you. This has been so good. Thank you so much, Dr. Amanda. I appreciate you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you for coming on. Thank you everyone for listening. I love all of you so much. I think about you all the time. I'm always thinking like, ooh, what's next? What do I get to create next? I love what I do. So thank you all for being here, because we're co-creating this experience together. Thank you, Monica. And until next time, I'm sending everyone hugs and NFA money-making high fives.
Woo-woo.
Hey friends, just a quick reminder that I'm looking for women entrepreneurs who want to do a biz breakdown session with me on this show, just like the one that you heard on today's episode. Think of this as a zone of manifestation audit to help you scale your business and make money more easily. During our recorded session, you'll get free money coaching from me with clear action steps that will help you scale your business more easily. And of course, as a guest on the show, you'll be able to promote your business and get some extra exposure. I'm doing this on a first come, first served basis. So head on over to www.thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com and sign up for your Biz Breakdown session today.